All right. Hey, my friend, and welcome to today's episode where we're going to talk about radical acceptance and how really radical acceptance is a much better place to start from than it is really a tool to try to get to where you want to go. So, before we dive in, just wanted to start off by telling you if you don't know who I am, my name is Matt Codde, and I'm a licensed clinical social worker and the founder of Restored Minds. And if you are looking for help on your journey to recovery, I have some links that I've put up in the notes, or you can head over to www.restoredminds.com to access some of our resources and even apply for our 12-week program, Taking Back Control. Also, if you benefit from the show, please help us out real quick by liking and subscribing and leaving a nice review. And if you are in the Southern California area, the OCD SoCal organization is going to be hosting a conference this Saturday, May 3rd. And so tickets are still available. I'm actually going to be hosting one of the talks there on acceptance commitment therapy. And so I'm going to talk a little bit more about that today. But tickets are still available. We'll link down in the notes. So if you're in the SoCal region, be sure to take advantage of that because there's some great speakers that are going to be there. A lot of great presentations, Q&As, and I think you'll really find it beneficial. So let's go ahead and talk about radical acceptance and why it's a much better place to start from than it is, a tool to try to use to get to where you want to go. So there's this paradox of acceptance where people learn about acceptance and radical acceptance commitment therapy, and they attempt to use it to get to a destination that they believe they want to get to. For instance, people will be dealing with intrusive thoughts or a lot of anxiety. And what they'll try to do is that, okay, I'm going to use acceptance commitment therapy. I'm going to use radical acceptance. I'm going to use acceptance to get to this other destination. No thoughts, no feelings, no, whatever. I'm going to change, right? I'm going to use acceptance to change. And it's such a paradox because that's the exact opposite of what acceptance is, right? Acceptance is the embracing of a thing as it is, where it is, how it is, without changing it. If you're trying to use acceptance in a manipulative framework of I'm going to use it to change something, by its very definition, you're not engaging in acceptance. And the first thing that you really need to do to recover from OCD and anxiety is actually accept exactly where you are right now. Because so many people are operating under these subtle beliefs and narratives of, I shouldn't be dealing with this. I should be further in my journey. I should, whatever, however that manifests for you, right? It's like this idea of should is the implication that things should be different than how they are, but they're not because they just are the way they are. What acceptance is embracing that, is saying, you know what, here I am. Maybe I've been dealing with this for 5 months, for 5 years, for 50 years, whatever it is, here I am. And I accept that fact. I don't accept it as an end result. I accept it that is a present moment truth. If you are dealing with intrusive thoughts, if you have this narrative that these shouldn't be happening, or if you're dealing with a lot of anxiety and the idea, or you're dealing with this narrative underneath that this shouldn't be happening, you can't use acceptance as a means of changing the thing that you don't want to experience, right? And this is the trap that I think a lot of people fall into with acceptance, is the idea that they try to use it to get to somewhere other than where they are. Like, okay, man, I'm going to accept that the thoughts are there. And then they wake up the next day and it's like, oh, the thoughts are still there. Yeah, and what you realize is that acceptance is not about getting you or what symptoms you're having to where you think they need to be. It's about becoming okay exactly where you are. Because a lot of times we're under this belief that things need to be a certain way for me to be okay. So we try to utilize the tools to create that reality or create that experience, and then in the hopes is that our energetic state shifts. I'm going to feel better, right? I'm going to feel more peaceful, calm, clear, what have you. Acceptance is about bypassing that idea and actually becoming okay, feeling the state you want to feel right now, in many ways, regardless of the experiences, of the sensations in your body, of the thoughts that you're experiencing, or of the environment that's going on outside of you. Because what you realize is suffering doesn't come from those things, it comes from your resistance to them. That's what stress is, right? Stress is when we resist something. And that resistance comes from a belief that that thing shouldn't be happening. And so when you get this, and from the broader sense, you understand that what acceptance is me being at peace with what is, changing my relationship with what is. It's not using acceptance to change the thing so that I feel okay. It's changing myself. It's changing my perspective. It's changing my state so that I am okay regardless of this thing. Ironically, when you get to the state of peace and you aren't so resistant to the thoughts and feelings, they do tend to leave. They tend to dissolve. And that's the irony. It's a backwards, paradoxical approach. And I always will use the example of, if you have someone who's staying at your house who you really don't want to stay, oftentimes it's when you are in a state of complete non-resistance that person ends up leaving. The more resistant you are, the more friction there is, more tension there is, the more chaos ensues. And the thing is, in certain aspects of your life, you know this. I'm sure all of you have seen this. It's like the moment you had that crush on this specific person in your life, right? You wanted this person and they didn't want you, and you were flirting with them and sending them all the signs or whatever. The moment that you stopped wanting them or shifted away, right? And kind of accepted, okay, I guess we're not gonna, is like, that's the moment that all of a sudden the person's interested in you. The moment you're trying to have a child and you're fighting and fighting and fighting, I'm going to work. And then you finally give up. That's the moment the person gets pregnant. Because there's not this stress of I need to control something to make myself feel okay. There's I'm giving up trying to control this. And then thereby putting your body into a very non-stressed out state. And that's when things tend to happen very naturally. This is why diets don't work, statistically. I know there are people that do have success, but as far as like a macro number, right? The percentage of diets that work for the people over long term is limited because diets operate from a stress-induced state already. It's like I'm resisting how I am, and which doesn't mean that you can't change yourself, right? It doesn't mean that you can't transform and have extreme transformations, mentally, physically, emotionally, what have you. But that can't happen from resistance. There has to first be an acceptance of like, hey, here I am. And you can, sure, steer the rudder in a different direction in life, absolutely. But acceptance has to be the beginning of your journey. And what radical acceptance is when it comes to OCD and anxiety is first saying, okay, like here I am. This is what's happening right now. And actually like bringing a certain clarity and peace to that. And then if you're going to, really be practicing this, it's not about using acceptance to control. And I think that's such a critical point to understand that oftentimes people miss. And when you do that, you end up using acceptance from a state of resistance and create yourself a lot of hardship and heartache. And, my hope is that in this episode, I can help you avoid that. So like I said, if you are going to be in the SoCal area, you're interested in, checking out the conference, I'll have a link down in the notes. Again, I'm going to be doing a presentation, on acceptance and commitment therapy there. And there's going to be several other speakers, many of whom also have podcasts of, very well-known people in the OCD and anxiety community. You can check it out in the link. They're going to be presenting on a variety of topics. So yeah, I mean, tickets are super cheap. I think lunch is included as well. So yeah, register if you can, as soon as you can, and then yeah, look forward to seeing you there if you can make it. And if not, I hope this episode was helpful. With that, I wish you a great day and a great week, and I look forward to seeing you soon. Hey there, thanks so much for watching that episode. If you found it helpful, we have some links to some other episodes that we think you might like as well. And if you're looking for help on your journey to recovery from fear, stress, and anxiety, either check out the links in the notes or head over to restoredminds.com. Thank you, and talk to you soon.